welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a January wrap-up of all the books that I read and didn't read in January. So let's talk about them. First, we're going to talk about the books that I didn't get to real quick because Onyx Storm was coming out, as we all know, okay? And so the preparation for that, I had to stop reading my books. I couldn't stop thinking about Onyx Storm, and then I was reading it, and then I just couldn't recover, so I couldn't read anything afterwards. And I ended up taking way too long to read Onyx Storm, but besides the point, I was in the middle of like 4 books in January that I had to pause because of Onyx Storm. So real quick, the books that I didn't get to. One, I did not get to Crescent City. This book is a reread, but I really wanted to spend a month reading all 3 books and like dedicating the month to them because they're bricks and I really want to annotate them to death. This is Urban Fantasy by Sarah J Maas, one of her 3 series that she has, and so I did not get to this one. Hopefully we'll get to it in the next few months so I can finally catch up on SJM's world. I did in place switch out for To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, which is a romantasy series by Sarah A. Parker, because I wanted to read this book because I didn't realize she had this book out. I read When the Moon Hatched by her last year and loved it, and I've seen good things about this series, so me and my friend on Book Talk decided to buddy read it together. We did not finish it yet. I don't know if she's finished it yet. It's been crazy again. Onyx Storm really just took over my life, and so I didn't get to this one. I'm about like halfway, I think, so hopefully we can finish it in the near future, but I did not finish it, and I have not really been reading it, but I want to finish it, so hopefully it's on my Kindle, so hopefully we can read it soon. But yes, I was enjoying it so far, but I was also very confused. But I'm excited to see where it goes because, like I said, I've heard good things about this. I also did not finish Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a YA like fantasy series, first book, and I was gonna read it. I was also gonna buddy read it with a friend on Instagram, but then she was saying she didn't know she was gonna be able to read it because she doesn't really read fantasy and she doesn't know if it's gonna be too hard for her to get into, and so she was like, if you want to read it, go ahead. But I waited to read it because in case if I don't read it, we can buddy read it another month. And I just didn't get to it, so I haven't read this one. I'm really excited to read it though. I've heard amazing things about this series. It's like young adult. She finds out she has powers, I think. She's dealing with grief. She's going to like a school to learn about everything. So I've heard amazing things, like I said. So hopefully again, in the near future, we can get to this one. The next one I didn't get to are my TBR for February. So if you've seen that, it's already out. Go check it out to see what I'm planning on reading. But we have The Crown of Gilded Bones. Again, I just didn't get to this one. The time was running. The last week, I was like not reading. Don't know what happened. Oh, my book's fell. But this is the book 3 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I've really been enjoying this series and listening to it on audio. I'm really excited to read it in January. And then this book is another book I'm planning on reading in February. I am currently reading it, and that is The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I had started it in January, Onyx Storm, okay, and I stopped. So now I'm currently reading it and I'm enjoying it. I love Mariana Zapata so much. Okay, I can't wait to read more by her. I recently bought more books by her again. In my February TBR, there's a book haul, so you can go see that if you haven't watched it yet. But currently reading it, I'm about like 20% of the way in it. I'm on page 84, but I'm really enjoying it and I can't wait to continue. And this will be read in February. Now I'll talk about the books that I actually did accomplish. First, we started off the month with a banger. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. I read 6 books in January, so decent. But let's see, I started off with Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. If you saw my TBR for January, I had TBR jar prompts pick my read, and I had my friend on Instagram, Lexi, pick my read, and she chose this one, and thank God she did, because I started off the year with one of my favorite books ever, okay? 6-star read, Archer's Voice. I've seen so many amazing things about this book. People love this book. It's like an older booktube hyped book is what I remember, and I was always intrigued, but I just never read it, but it's been on my shelves for years. I'm so happy I did because I absolutely adored this book and these characters so much. It follows Archer and Bree. Bree is dealing with a devastating situation that happened to her, and she's dealing with grief and just trying to figure out what to do with her life, and so she ends up leaving where she's from just to like get a break, to, you know, get space and like collect herself. And she ends up moving to this small town next to this little old lady who was so cute, and she's kind of dealing with her past traumas and trying to like move forward and come to terms with things. And so she's like in this small town, just like meeting people, making friends, getting a job, just kind of figure out what she wants to do. And then we have Archer, who is the boy that lives on the end of the street by himself, like kind of secluded from society. No one talks to him, no one interacts with him. They kind of view him as like weird, like something's off with him. He also has a traumatic past and very like sad, heartbreaking things that happened to him in the past. And so we're learning about those 2 pasts throughout the book. We get kind of flashbacks to things to learn what happened. And then also Archer is mute, he doesn't speak, and so he uses sign language to communicate, which I love the ASL representation. And our main character also knows ASL, so they communicate through sign language, and I loved it so much. This relationship was so pure and like heartwarming and wholesome and just so sweet. I loved it so much. Their love for each other and the way they learned from each other was beautiful, and the quotes in here, the relationship, the friendships, I just loved everything about it. I felt every single emotion while reading this book, which again is why it's a 6-star read. I was laughing, giggling, screaming, kicking. I was so irritated with some characters in this book. And I also was sobbing at one point in this book. I literally was in shock and I was crying. I have a reading vlog of me reading it. I was in shambles, okay? But I love this book so much. Definitely a book I would reread. I highly recommend this book. If you take any book from this, read Archer's Voice if you haven't. It was so good and definitely worth the hype. Next, I read The Story Life of A.J. Fickery by Gabrielle Zevin. This is more kind of like a literary fiction book. It's really short. I did listen to an audio while I read it. It follows our main character and he is dealing with grief. He's the owner of a bookstore in this small town that's like on an island. You take a ferry to get there. And he meets this publishing lady in the beginning who was trying to sell him books. They have like a rough, rocky start. And then it's just kind of his life dealing with his grief and coming to terms with everything. He ends up finding a baby left in his bookstore with a note saying that the mom couldn't take care of her and that being in the bookstore around books would be the best life for this child. And so it's also him kind of taking this child, becoming a parent. There's also romance. There's a little bit of a mystery going on of things that have happened in this book and figuring out what and why and how. And I thought it was really beautiful. It was just kind of a very unique but interesting way of like looking at life, the ups and downs of life, and the beauty of life and the realities of life. There's a lot of quotes in here that I really enjoyed and loved reading, and I felt all the emotions also while reading this. It was like heartbreaking, it was sweet, it was melancholy, it was bittersweet. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it, let me look actually because I don't remember. So I gave this book a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it's a book I would reread just for like a refreshing take on life. Like I feel like you kind of learn some things from it, maybe learn more as you read it. They really tie in books to this because obviously he's a bookstore owner. And I just love seeing the way the books and people who like books or talk about books can kind of unite different communities with a common, you know, interest, which is books, but then also the variety within that of different types of books and genres that go along with it. So I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really wholesome and sweet and funny at times, and I would definitely recommend this one. 4-star. Oh, and there's a movie out, and I feel like I have to go watch the movie now because it's on Netflix, so I'm like, I might need to watch it and see how it goes. But yes, recommend this one. I also read Zodiac Academy book 3, The Reckoning. This book is obviously the 3rd book in the series. I'm not going to tell you what this book is about necessarily, but it follows twins, Tori and Darcy, and they live in the human world. They end up meeting a professor who says, you guys are Fae, you guys are the heirs to the throne of Celeria, your parents were the king and queen, they died, we thought you died, but now you can come to the academy, and if you survive and pass the academy and harness your powers, you can take back your throne. But then we also have 4 boys who are the heirs to the throne, and now they have competition, and so they're bullying and trying to be sneaky and get the twins kicked out or to leave or to die. Okay, so we have like a bully romance, we have political intrigue, we have a bunch of different magical creatures and beings, we have mystery, we have romance, we have so many different elements to this. I've been really enjoying my time reading this series. It's a hit or miss with people, but I find it entertaining and enjoyable, and I've been doing the audiobooks with this series, and that has been a lot of fun. There is an interconnected series you can do. I ended up I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna binge all of ZA, and then if I need to go back or want to go back to the other worlds, I can. But I'm planning on reading the 4th book this month, so I'm really excited for that. But this book is The Reckoning, so it takes place in the academy. They have this thing called The Reckoning, where they have to all kind of showcase their powers and pass these trials in order to continue on with the academy. So that's what this book is about. I really enjoyed this one. The romance, the mystery. There's people I don't trust, people I'm questioning. The ending of this, there was like growth, and then there was like betrayal, and now I'm just excited to see where the next one goes. I've heard the next one's really good, so I cannot wait to continue. So if you're interested, I do think it's been enjoyable so far. I've personally been loving it, and I'm excited to get back into this world with Tori and Darius and Darcy and Orion and Seth and Max and all of them and Jenna and all of them. The little found family, the groups. And, I'm excited for the romance to finally blossom. Like, I'm excited to see the redemption of the people to become the romance in couples. I'm excited. I can't wait. So yes. Okay. And then the last 3 books I read in January. Can you guys tell what they are? I did my 4th Wing reread with the dramatized audio, and I found my new love for this series. Somehow I kind of forgot about it, like it wasn't as like much of a love for me, and then I reread it and I was like, no, I actually love this series so much. Okay, this is the 1st book, 4th Wing, and it follows Violet, and in this world they have different colleges or quadrants that you can kind of be a part of. And so she wanted to be a scribe. Her mother's like the general of the army for Basgiath, which is the war college. And Violet wanted to be a scribe, working in the library, taking notes, making history, and then she ends up being forced to enter into the writer's quadrant, where they have to essentially survive a bunch of trials. They have to bond to dragons without getting killed to be able to survive and make it as a writer. And so it's her going through the academy, which we love the academy setting. We have an enemies to lovers with Zayden. Zayden, love that man so much. My love for him also grew in this series. And just the found family of the friendships they make, and then the war political intrigue. So much fun, so entertaining. The dramatized audios are so great. I also then listened to Iron Flame, okay, on the dramatized audio. This was a reread as well. When I first read it, I wasn't as invested into it, but now when I reread it, I'm more invested in it. So much fun. Obviously, this takes place after Fourth Wing and the things that occur, the different like plot twists and jaw on the floor. The found family I love so much. I love all the characters in here and their friendship and the way they all work together. I love Zayden. I love his friend group. I love everyone. There's teachers in here that piss me off. There's things in here that piss me off. There was like back and forth in this book that kind of irritated me, but I still loved it as a whole and I really enjoyed it. I think this book would be low-key like a maybe a 4.75 stars. This book would probably be more like a 4.5, 4 stars. And then, guys, we read Onyx Storm, okay? And this book is the third book, obviously. I have a reading vlog coming out for this one, so stay tuned. And there will be spoilers at the end of that video. So I'm not going to tell you what this book is about. Obviously, it takes place right after Fourth Wing. It's a new release, okay? We're not going to talk about what happened because I'm not trying to spoil it for anyone. But I highly suggest everyone going to read this. It's so fun. I read this one, and I did listen to audio with it as well, and I really enjoyed this book. The found family in here as well was my favorite thing ever. Violet stepping into herself and like having her authority, I ate up. Zayden in this was everything and more, okay? Their relationship was the love of my life, okay? Love of my life. Bodhi, which is a side character, he is the comedic relief that is necessary in this series, and I love him with my whole entire heart. And if anything happens to him, I will riot, okay, Rebecca? I will riot, okay? But this book, I did again feel all the emotions. I did cry, okay? You will see that in the reading vlog. I was sobbing at one point. Really rude, actually. And then I was jaw on the floor. All this book left me with was questions. I finished this and I stared. When people say they stare at the wall after finishing books and not know what to do. No, I literally did that. I sat in my bed and I was like, what do I do now? Like, how am I can't get the answers to anything. There's nothing else to read in this world. Rebecca's gonna take how many years to write the next one? And then I went through a TikTok rabbit hole of going through all the theories and the potential things that are going to happen in book 4 and all the Easter eggs from these two books that were in this book. First of all, the people who can think of theories, like, you have my applaud, you have my like hats to you, because I have no theories. I have some, but not that many. Nothing to really like be like, oh, in this book this happened and then this book and then that. No, nothing. There was one thing that I did guess in here and I was like, yeah, I got it. But for the next books, I have theories based off now like hearing theories and like what I think is gonna happen and like things I remember. But people who just like think of things without any input from anyone else or anything is crazy. Okay, good job, guys. But I love this series. This book is also, I'd say, a 4.75. I really enjoyed this book and I love the characters and everything that happened here and where it's going, and I'm so excited for the rest of the books. But it didn't give me 5-star feelings. Like, I wouldn't say this is my favorite book ever, but I really had a great time with it. And I feel like I need to reread them again already because I want to see what things in here and here lead to things in here for book 4. Like, ugh. But I can't reread it yet. I need to wait, okay? I kind of need to wait until the next one comes out in 3,000 years. But I did make friends, actually, the other day. I went to Starbucks to study, and this girl had a Best Guys shirt on, and I was like, oh my god, I love your shirt. And she was like, oh, we're doing book club right now if you want to join. So I sat with them. It was their first time meeting, and we were talking about Onyx Storm and all the books and theories and all the characters and everything and doing trivia and stuff. We yapped for 3 hours. Random girls I just met, 4 of them, and now I'm in their book club and we're gonna be meeting to dissect the entire books and what's gonna happen in book 4. So I'm so excited. Okay, but yes, I had a great time with this. This series is one of favorites, I would say. I love the dragons, I love the bond, the humor, the found family, the relationship, the romance, the political aspects, the war aspects, the creatures. I love the academy aspects here, and then just the growth in the series as a whole. I'm so excited to see what book 4 and 5 entail. But I'm depressed that I have to wait, okay? So we had a phone call, but these are all the books that I read in January. I didn't get to all the books I wanted to get to, but I did read good books, okay? I think all my books were 4 stars or higher. I don't even think I rated this one. What did I rate this one? It was a 4.25. I liked it more than book 2. Yes. So, 4.25. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to see where it goes. Anyways, these are the books I read. And I can't wait for January. We have a big TBR coming, and I don't know who I think I am because I didn't even finish my January TBR, but I had trips and we had things going on. So hopefully we can get through all the books in February. I'm excited for every single one. So if you didn't watch my TBR video, go check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed my little January wrap up. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them, and let me know what books you read in January, and I'll see you guys in my next one.